of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. And the songs of all my great grandmothers and the dreams of all my great grandfathers and the way to rise beyond the pain. All live, all live in me. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. And the smiles of all the unborn children and the dream of a better day to come and the dance of heaven with the earth. All live, all live in me. And of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Been robbed and displaced, abused and displaced. Been robbed and disgraced, abused and disgraced. Been lied to. Lies can be seen through in the land. You can't fall from grace in the land. You cannot be heard in the land. There's more than enough in the land. Always at home, always at home, always at home, always at home, always at home. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Songs of all my great grandmothers and the dreams of all my great grandfathers and the way to rise beyond the pain. All live, all live, all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heartstream Live celebration. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. So that's why I'm calling this now our Heartstream Live celebration. Do you realize it's been almost a year since we have been doing this virtually? Yes. Last March was when we started doing our virtual celebrations. Thank you all for your support, your continued support, in the many ways in which you do showing up each week, the financial contributions, the kind words, the good energy, the things that flow from your heart, all of this to make this heart stream a reality. It indeed is something that's very important to us. And as we move into the month of March, as we recognize and celebrated Black History Month, this month is Women's History Month. And we've got some things in store for you this month that I think you will like and enjoy. I want to thank Judy Card and Carolyn Head, Emma Crystal, and Shelley Gilmore for helping us pull together, just as we saw last month, the Black evolutionaries in Science of Mind. This month, we will see Women in New Thought, and they have helped us to make this possible. Welcome again to our Heartstream Live celebration. I greet you. I bless you. I see God in you.
We are inviting, evoking, and invoking the Spirit of God, the Christ consciousness within us all, to rise up at this time as we begin the service with open eyes, open ears, and an open heart. Namaste.
Our theme this month is March Saneness. And our affirmation, I realize a greater truth that comes from within me as being the absolute. I anchor into this knowing because the higher wisdom self within me is constantly guiding me and directing my paths, making every crooked path straight. I acknowledge God in all my ways and believe that the voice I hear within me is God. I know its sound. I realize it's called to action. I abide in the truth of my higher wisdom self, and I celebrate in the joy that all things are working together for the good.
Today's affirmative reading comes from 365 Science of Mind, a year of daily wisdom from Ernest Holmes. And I am reading, Inspiration, Guidance, and Wisdom Belong to Me. It begins with this verse from the sacred text of Christianity, James 1:22. Be ye doers of the word. Through divine intelligence, I become an outstanding individual. The fullness of experience is mine. I have no fear of taking the initiative. I do not limit the possibility of my future to anything that has happened in the past. I realize that I exist at the standpoint of limitless opportunity for self-expression. I am a center of consciousness in life. I am myself, an individual, a person, a reality. I am one with life, one with people, and one with events. I have no fear of expressing myself. I do not seek to imitate others or live from the resources of anything other than my own nature, because all wisdom, guidance, and power is mine now. I welcome the opportunity to live fully, freely, and joyfully. I accept the fullness of life this moment. I believe in myself. Within me is the source of knowledge, of inspiration, and guidance. I put myself and any cares I have into the hands of divine intelligence. I release all sense of worry or anxiety.
Good morning. These are your announcements.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just have a happy day.
At Open Heart, we believe in the power of affirmative prayer. We're setting the mental equivalent for healing, comfort, strength, and wholeness for all these persons you see on our list. We're holding space for you, and we know that is already done in the mind of God. How do you meditate? What is mindfulness? These questions and more will be answered in our virtual book study led by our assistant minister and spiritual director, Villa Willis. It begins this Thursday, March 11th at 6:30 Central Time and continues each second Thursday. The book you'll be using is The Headspace Guide to Meditation and Mindfulness by Andy Puddicombe. Go to our website and enter your name and email address in order to sign up for the class and receive additional information. There will be a private Facebook page that also will be a part of the class. The great theologian and mystic Howard Thurman said, "How good it is to center down." And we do that each Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Central Time for our Love Grid meditation. Britannia Allen leads us in a 15-minute meditation session. Enter the meditation room at our website. Thank you, Villa Willis, for today's affirmative reading, and you too can contribute one by recording your video and sending it to jgilmore@openheartspiritual.org. Start your day, or for some people, continue your day with our daily affirmative prayer call. It takes place each and every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. Dial in, and one of our prayer team members shares an inspirational reading and then prays for you. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am richly blessed, creating a greater and greater flow. Thank you for all of you who continue to give, reminding you of our conscious giving. You can do so via our app. You can go to our website and click on the Give button, or you can text the word GIVE to 615-422-4292.
I know sometimes it's hard for you to clearly see just how you're gonna keep missing it. Your obligations and responsibility, how you gonna meet them here? How you gonna make it one more time? Now let's hit the truth of it. You want much, much more than this. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the light of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You did so. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the red, you're the light of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? The light of the universe. Oh yes you are. Oh yes you are. I know sometimes it's hard to hold your head up high and show the world that together together. You think of things that make you wanna run and hide. Ooh, I love you and baby. Ooh, could you trust you understand? Now let's see the truth of it. You want much, much more than this. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the light of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? There's no
was trying to make is better made musically. Check the lyrics. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the light lighting up the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? In you there's no darkness. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the bread, you're the wine, the word. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the light of the universe. You're not the things you have done. You're not the words that you said. Or the heartache that you're going through. Oh, you are the bright of the sun. You are the glow of the moon. And in your presence, the things that seem dark fade
Emma Curtis Hopkins, Teacher of Teachers. Emma Curtis Hopkins was an American spiritual author and leader. She was also involved in the origination of the New Thought movement. She was often called the Teacher of Teachers because a number of her students went on to found their own churches or to become prominent in the New Thought movement. Hopkins was a primary theologian, teacher, writer, feminist, mystic, and prophet who ordained hundreds of people, including women, at what she named, with no tie to Christian Science, the Christian Science Theological Seminary of Chicago. Hopkins also believed that the changing roles of women at the time were an indication of their divinity being realized and signaling a new epoch identifying with the mother, or feminine-like aspect of God. The New Thought movement usually credits Phineas P. Quimby, who died in 1866, as the central founder, but New Thought did not formally organize itself until Emma Curtis Hopkins brought together and focused the national movement in 1886 through 88, with a base in Chicago. Her first work, Class Lesson 1888, ignited flashpoints for organized New Thought. Many of the great New Thought authors of the time studied with Emma Curtis Hopkins, including Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, founders of Unity, Ernest Holmes, founder of Religious Science, Melinda Kramer and Nona L. Brooks, founders of Divine Science, and Harriet Emily Cady, author of Unity's cornerstone text, Lessons in Truth. Hopkins wrote many books on spiritual healing and the soul's relationship with God. She died at her home in Connecticut in 1925. Reverend Mary A. Tumpkin. According to Mary Tumpkin, preaching was in her blood. Her grandmother was a preacher, and Mary herself began preaching in her Detroit, Michigan church at the tender age of 13. Though her minister encouraged her calling, she resisted. She initially began a career in banking, and then she and her husband migrated to Miami, Florida. The seed for UTC was planted when the Reverend Mary A. Tumpkin, who was holding church services in her living room, captured the attention of renowned motivational speaker Les Brown. Brown insisted on introducing her to his spiritual mentor, the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman of Chicago, Illinois. Reverend Coleman, the founder and then president of the Universal Foundation for Better Living, UFBL, was so impressed with Reverend Tompkin that she recruited her to serve as the liaison for a Miami-based affiliate of the UFBL. On Sunday, September 29, 1982, 80 adults and 46 children chartered the Universal Truth Center for Better Living, UTC. Reverend Coleman performed a spiritual baptism ceremony for the charter members and presided over UTC's first worship service, which was held in the community center of a housing project in the neighborhood known as Liberty City. On January 2, 1994, 800 supporters participated in the UTC groundbreaking ceremony for the $1.5 million facility UTC now occupies. Today, 20 years later, every wall, doorway, window, paver, and parking stone serves as a reminder of the power of faith, love, and cooperation. Reverend Tompkin also served as the UFBL president from 1995 to 2013. She transitioned in November 2013.
2, just because you accept it as true doesn't mean that it is the truth. What it means is whatever you accept is going to govern your experience. Hello? Truth cannot govern your experience until you know it. Let's go back to what Jesus said. You shall know the truth. Not believe it. Not hear it. But you shall know it, and then you shall be free. I ain't free, and I done read 15 books. Put the book down and get something in your soul.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's Openheartspiritual Center service. I want to thank you for joining us today. Today, I'm going to start out this morning with 3 chimes, and with each chime, we're going to ohm throughout the chime, allowing yourself to just go deeper and to breathe through. We're going to breathe in and breathe out. So we're going to breathe in. And now, as we are present right here and right now in this moment, I just give thanks. I am so grateful for this day. I'm grateful to be alive in this day and to be alive in this moment, in each and every single moment, and say with me, yes, and aha, and amen, and yes. Breathing in and breathing out. Waking up this morning and just being grateful for all that I have and all that's going on in, through, and around me, and knowing that the source within me is that same divine sweetness that's connected to each and every single one of us. And when I say brother and sister, I truly mean that we are truly brother and sister, whether we agree with one another or any of those types of things, but we know that the eyes that are looking at you right now, and the eyes, although I can't see you, are looking back at me, I know that we are from the same source, and the same source has its beingness within each and every single one of us. And so I'm grateful today for all that have a part in this service, this special service today, because each and every single moment is special. Celebrate each and every single moment. And so celebrating each moment today, I'm grateful for the music, for the affirmative reading, and for the message. And allow ourselves to just open up and to receive and celebrate this time here and now. And I release this right here, right now. I release it, knowing that it is already so wonderful, so good, and so it is.
March Saneness. College basketball fans know that the month of March means one thing, and that is March Madness. The playoffs that happen in college basketball every year, they call March Madness. But at Open Heart this month, we are recognizing and proclaiming this is March Saneness, that this is the season for renewing your mind. We hear the words from Romans chapter 12, verse 2, "Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This sound advice is certainly applicable for these times because we have seen madness. 2020 certainly was a year of madness, and moving into 2021, we see it in many ways in these 3 short months. I'm not going to give you a litany of all the things that are happening. You too are already familiar with it. But I know this, and that is that there have been days in my life, and probably you feel the same way, where I feel like doing like DMX and singing, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me go all out up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me act a fool up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me lose my cool up in here, up in here. I remember a few years back, one of the organizations in Memphis that was just getting its start about making a change in Memphis had a session where they were teaching their particular technique of helping to work with people and to talk with them and discern what their beliefs and ideas were, and to work in moving them into a place where they became active and concerned about what was taking place in the city. And so at the training, they got us together in a group and they were explaining the method, and then they said, now we're going to get some people and demonstrate how it's done. So they picked me and they chose a woman for us to sit together, and we were to have the conversation, and she was going to ask me the questions and I was going to respond in that. So we sat down and we engaged with one another. And when the process was over, they took a moment to reflect on what had happened and asked the people that were in the group, what did they just observe and what did they see? All of a sudden, there was a man who looked straight at me. He pointed at me and he said, "Are you even real?" And I kind of looked back. He said, "Are you even real?" He said, "Because you sat up there, you're one of those people who acts like nothing bothers you, and you just really were hearing all those things and nothing seemed to move you. And I don't even think that you're real. I don't even know if that's how you really are or anything." And I got amused at that point, and I stepped back and sat back and I assured him and the rest of the group that yes, there are things that bother me, but I choose how I respond to those things. And in that moment, I began thinking about the story of, and it became one of my favorite stories in the Bible because I remember growing up hearing my father preach about this on a number of occasions. But it's about Jesus' encounter with the woman of Samaria at the well. And as they had that conversation, it was something that was life-changing for her. And as the disciples had gone to get some food to eat, and as they were returning and the woman was leaving, and they were saying to themselves, "Why is he talking to her?" And then she went on and made her way back to town. And the disciples came over to Jesus and they said, "We've got you something to eat. Rabbi, teacher, you need something to eat." And Jesus' response to them was, "I have food to eat that you don't even know of." And they were amazed at that. They said, "Well, nobody could have brought him food. We have the food for him now." But he was talking about that there was something deeper and that there was something greater that was fulfilling and that was real food, spiritual food, if you will. And I think that in that moment I realized that they wanted me to engage in what I'm going to call today March Madness. But I'm going to let you in, come a little closer, I'm going to let you in on a not so secret secret. The phrase, the scripture that I used just a moment ago, "Be not conformed to this world." Another way of saying that is true to the New Testament, is written in Greek, is true to the Greek, and it goes like this: don't let the world squeeze you into its mold, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. In other words, March Saneness. J.B. Phillips, the Bible scholar, rendered it in this way: don't let the world around you squeeze you into its mold, but let God remold your minds from within, so that you might prove in practice that the plan of God is good for you, meets all that is available to you, and moves you toward the goal of true maturity. I want to remind you that you can't outperform your consciousness. You can't outperform your consciousness. And as my teacher Galen McDowell says, if someone is going to condition your mind, and they will try, but if someone is going to condition your mind, it might as well be you. So how do you do that? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I think that it comes down to this, as Michael Beckwith shows us, that it's helpful to know the difference between improvement, change, and transformation. Improvement is when we add something positive to our lives. Say you want to lower your blood pressure, so you start to exercise. And as a result of exercising, indeed your blood pressure does get lower. The numbers do get better. And you find yourself having made improvement. But the thing of it is that if you stop exercising, then the benefits that you realize from exercising go away, and your numbers go back up on your blood pressure. And that's what happens. And we oftentimes find that improvement comes from the outside. And then there's change. Change happens when something shifts in our consciousness and we have a corresponding change in behavior. For example, with addiction, that when we have that shift in consciousness, we find that those habits, our habits where we once had, are no longer triggered by those things around us, that we've moved out of that and we're able to then do things differently and to live life differently because we've made that change. We've had that shift in consciousness, and there it is, and it is helping us. And we come into a conscious realization of our limitless nature, and we understand that. But if we regress in consciousness, then those old patterns might come back. Change is not always permanent, but there's then transformation. Transformation comes when we are in a space of realizing our oneness with all that is. Not just in lip service. I know people will say, I'm one with all that is, but true awareness, true knowing, not mentally, but a way that's deeper than that. Of breaking through the illusion of an existence separate from the whole. Transformation is a movement away from the limited thought forms into a conscious realization of our limitless nature. It's the full expression of our authentic self. Sometimes Spirit provides us with this knowing. I remember years ago, and I share this story often, but I was walking across the campus where I teach at the University of Memphis, and I got into a certain spot, and all of a sudden, in a very quick moment, something happened to me. I saw myself standing there, but as I was standing there, I saw the entire universe open up to me. I saw the stars and the planets and the galaxy and all of that. I saw the vastness of being, the vastness of everything in that one moment. And I saw myself in place in that. In one way, insignificant, but in another way, very significant. And I saw those things. And then all of a sudden, there was like a shoo, back down into my body and me realizing my oneness with all that is. But that might not happen to you. And I want to say that there are other ways in which we can move into the space of transformation. And here's one of the ways in which I have found to be very effective and very helpful. And that is to know about intention and attention. Yes, you hear me say this all the time, but to really, really get into our minds, to really know what it is, to focus our intention and attention. To understand that the power of intention creates, and the power of attention maintains our focus on creative intention. Our intentions form the direction of our attention. You remember the story of Lot's wife when they were fleeing from the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. And as they were moving away, their intention was to get to safety. Their intention was to get to another place. Their intention was to get out from the destruction that was about to happen. But Lot's wife's intention was remembering those things that she was leaving behind. Her intention was not looking forward, not thinking about that, but looking back. And as she did, her attention was looking back. And as she turned her attention and looked back, what it says is that she became a pillar of salt. And that's really a symbolic way of saying that she crystallized herself into being stuck in the past, being that way. So we have to understand that where we put our intention, that we also focus our attention, the places in which we're headed, where it is that we are moving into what is. So notice where you are placing your attention. Pay attention to what you are paying attention to. Notice where you consistently place your attention. And when we invest the energy of intention, it determines the type of people and places and circumstances and experiences and conditions that we manifest. Look at what shows up in your life and begin understanding that, realizing that, and recognizing that, understanding that when we place our attention and on those things that we want, and they move in the direction of our intention, they happen, they come for us. We have to align our actions and our speech and our thought all together. There has to be congruence there. Some of you may be aware of the fact, and I'm saying this morning because I know my lovely mother is over in the other room watching this live stream, heart stream this morning. And since October, she has been challenged by various things. She's had some time in the hospital, time in the rehabilitation center, and now she's back home. And I've been here for twice now, for a little more than a month each time, to assist with my parents. My sister has done a marvelous job of keeping up with both of them and doing all the things that they can. But I remember when my mother first came home from the rehab center the day before Thanksgiving, and we had to help her up and down, help her in and out of bed. She could only use the assistance of her walker and those things, but she has made tremendous progress since then. And one of the things that I keep reminding her of is when people ask her how she's doing, she said, "I'm doing all right, but I don't have much energy." And I keep reminding her, "Mama, it's important for you to recognize and to realize that while you might not have energy, while you might not feel that, and I'm not discounting that, but ultimately to know that when you start saying, 'I'm getting better, I'm doing better,' then you will begin to have the energy that you seek." That sometimes we have to start saying things before they show up. Start saying things before we recognize the reality of things happening in our lives. And so that is an important part of our intention and our attention, lining those things up and making sure that those things happen the way in which we wish for them to manifest. Transformation, it requires those things. Transformation makes those things happen. The transformation occurs when we act from our infinite nature, which has no habits, no addictions, no likes or dislikes, which is simply pure being. Transformation occurs when we make God and spirit and all of those things welcome. We don't make it happen, we make it welcome. When we open up ourselves, open up our lives, open up our very being, and understand in the midst of all that is taking place, we are making it welcome. We know that in the field of infinite possibilities, all is possible. And when we set our intention, then that field collapses in on that which we wish to manifest, to experience, and we hold our attention there and we see it come forth in our lives. This March, remember to be not conformed to this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Don't give in to March madness. Allow March Saneness to manifest for each and every one of you. And so it is.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I am free in the Spirit. Do you want to be free? Then let me hear you say yes. Yes, I'm only here for God. I know.
There are times in our life we give up the fight. We sit down and cry. We let life pass us by. Keep on, look at the past. Things that just didn't last. We gave up too fast. We chose to let it all go. Just listen, Spirit is calling, our hearts are yearning. Just listen, feel your heart burning. Your mind is learning to let go. Be in the flow, then you will know who you really are. Who you really are. Just And so it is.